Life's stressors are one reason why perseverance, resilience, and mental toughness is so important. For most of us in the developed world, life is not physically painful. It's psychologically challenging. For our societies have managed to create all sorts of extreme stressors. An old joke applies here. It goes, do you know what happens when you play a country western record backwards? You get your car back, you get your wife back, and you get your dog back. Hello, my name is Murray Johansson. I'd like to share with you a set of mental abilities, helpful to getting through life, and essential to doing anything above and beyond the ordinary. So if you want to be an average person doing average things, don't listen to the rest of this. But if you want to stand out from the crowd, do continue. Overcoming stressors is not the only reason why you should master these 6 methods. They are also critically important in achieving challenging goals, like starting a new business, getting a degree, or competing in sports. In fact, some of the research for this program comes from sports psychology. Research on, for example, athletes' drive to win, and their ability to overcome defeat. But that's not all. Famous people also have important things to say. The words of Winston Churchill are relevant here when he said these 6 words. Never, 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 never give up. And another of my favorite quotes from him goes, success is going from defeat to defeat without loss of enthusiasm. In fact, you might say the secret of success is constancy of purpose. You notice I didn't say setting goals. Goals are necessary. They are helpful, but they are not sufficient. So really, what do you need? The first thing you need is vision. Everyone has fantasies, and many have dreams, but both dreams and fantasies lack motivational force. But those pursuing a vision, they are driven. They are motivated to achieve. This requires you start exercising a mental capacity commonly not taught, the power of imagination. Not only do universities not teach it, but you can't use it in corporations. Can you imagine the reaction of a boss if you were found sitting at your desk with your eyes closed? They might come over and kick the chair saying, "Get to work." But you say, "Hey, I'm exercising my imagination." To which the boss is likely to reply, "Fine, exercise somewhere else. We are not a fitness club." So in class, we'll ask you to exercise your vision. This brings us to a different endurance skill, mindfulness. For most of us, mindfulness is a known unknown. We've heard the word, but we're not quite sure what it means and how we can benefit from doing it. So let's define it. It's the opposite of mindlessness, what the psychologists call automatic behavior, and I prefer to call living in the zombie zone. It turns out mindfulness practices are hot areas of psychology. It's necessary for better concentration, longer attention spans, and overcoming problems with selective attention. Essentially, mindfulness practices give you a powerful set of techniques to reduce a key limitation of the human mind, the lack of processing power associated with attention. But this is not the only thing you must do better. One must also pay attention to states. I would like to illustrate the importance of this with a story. Once upon a time, a spouse was mad about a small failing of her husband. The husband was receiving a fair amount of character feedback at a fairly high voice decibel level when the phone rang. It happened to be a friend of the wife. At that point, the anger state instantly changed to a friendly state of mind. However, the very second the phone was hung up, friendly changed back to anger. Moral of the story? You have a lot more control of states than you think. States of mind are hard to control, so we will start by learning just one, a really, really important one called optimism. And of course, once we have a good handle on states, we also must know how to use self-talk. By the time you are an adult, the ego has been wrapped in a web of beliefs. Let me illustrate this web a little more. I remember when I was raised on a farm, and I was about 5, out near the machine shed, when I spotted a spider's web. It was beautiful, glistening in the sun, drops of water from the rain the night before still on it. But when I looked closer, I saw a fly, trapped, struggling, but not able to get out. I felt sorry for that fly. It really bothered me, and I forgot about that experience. Years later, this memory came back, and I realized it was a metaphor. I was that fly. My friends, family, teachers, this society, but most of all, my own self-talk, trapped me in a web of limiting and false beliefs. But all is not lost. You can break out of this web if you learn how to better use self-talk. And breaking out is also helped by your ability to take charge of your stress. You might say stress is a part of life, but there is one group of people who do not feel stress. Do you know who they are? Those in a cemetery. Of course, everyone wants to perform at peak, the optimal level of performance, but too much stress and your performance declines a lot. You fatigue and can even burn out. That's the bad news. Throughout history, great men and great women have had to overcome adversity, and so will you if you want to accomplish anything worthwhile in your life. To illustrate this point, I'd like to share a story with you. A duck waddles up to the owner of a small grocery store and asks, "Do you got any grapes?" The owner says, "No, I do not." So the duck waddles away. Again, the next day, the duck comes to the owner of the grocery store and asks, "Do you got any grapes?" And the owner said, "No, I don't." The third day, the duck again waddles up to the owner and asks, "Do you got any grapes?" And the owner said, "No, I don't. And if you come here again and ask me that same question, I'll grab some nails and nail your beak shut." Well, the duck looked a bit perplexed and somewhat confused at this, but didn't say anything as it waddled away. The fourth day, the duck again waddled up to the owner and asked, "Do you got any nails?" The owner replied, "No, I don't." So the duck said, "Fine. Do you got any grapes?" This story illustrates an important aspect of resilience. You may change your methods, but not your vision, and you surely don't give up. So let's wrap up. Mental toughness consists of a number of important mental processes and beliefs. None of these are necessarily easy to develop, but they are important, for they give you a performance edge. You can take all 6, but we suggest you start with 2. First, resilience, and secondly, an ability of your choice. You get knowledge, coaching, and you have a money-back guarantee if you find out it's not something you want to do. But first, you must do something simple. You must sign up. Also, we have other learning options. You may prefer a self-paced option, for example, or learning in a group environment. Or, if you're in government or in a corporation, we can bring an instructor to you. So, be sure to contact us if you have questions. Thank you very much.